Hello, and welcome to It's a Creativity Thing. I'm Laurie Andriacchio, and I am so thrilled that you are here and I get to be a part of your journey as we continue to discover ways to redefine creativity, what that means, and discover ways to fire up your imagination, ignite your senses, and just really discover how you can be a more glorious, more authentic you. And today we're going to explore the concept of creativity being just an idea of thinking about something in a new way, looking at something in a new way with a new perspective. So my guest today, Anna Boothe, is here to help us see something in a unique fashion, a very familiar thing perhaps, and just look at it a little differently, or maybe a lot differently, to give yourself some new ideas, new dialogue, new stories. So get ready to open your eyes, your heart, hands, and brain too, and just to the possibilities that exist to be you. So thank you for joining us and sharing your amazingness with us. So I've been so excited about this.
Me too.
I stumbled upon you. The fates brought us together. I've been really excited about this conversation. So
me too. Thank you so much for the invitation. Yeah. I've been very excited.
So I have to set this up a little bit because Anna is an amazing glass artist who is internationally recognized. She has been doing this for 35 years plus forever. Yeah. But you have your BFA from Rhode Island
School of Design.
School of Design. Your MFA from Tyler.
Right.
Yeah. My alumni school
that
too.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. So Temple University, Tyler. And I mean, I could go down and we could spend the whole show and more on your resume, but you taught at Tyler as well for 16 years.
I did.
Salem County College?
Salem Community College. I was asked to go down there and start their glass art program.
So,
they were noted for their scientific program, and then they were, and they have a very, very famous alumnus. Paul Stankard.
Oh, okay.
And he's a...
I know that name.
You
yes.
do?
Yes,
okay.
I do.
A wonderful man.
Yeah.
He invited me to come down and start the glass art program. So a degree program for artists.
Yeah.
Very different than the scientific program.
Very cool.
So.
Yeah, and you're also involved internationally in lectures and shows and boards, and I mean, I could go on and on and on. So just to give you an overview.
I don't turn down international travel when another school is paying for it, and it's a great way to travel.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do want to get one more little point in about your new venture of your online shop and site. So if you could introduce that a little bit before we get going. Oh, geez. Help me out.
Okay. Now I can't say it. Pot de Verity.
Pot de Verity. Okay, Pot de Verity. And
So I can give, I started it during the pandemic. So we're all at home, and I thought, all right, this is the time to launch this. And it's sort of needed a way to be a freelance artist and to promote my work online, which is what everyone is needing to do, especially during the pandemic.
Right.
So I started a business which is basically my smaller works, decorative, functional, and sculptural works. I'm a sculptor for forever.
Yeah.
Serial sculptor, I call myself.
Serial sculptor. Watch out.
But I needed a way to create something that was more accessible and that I could sell in trade shows, for example.
Sure.
So given that I was no longer teaching as a full-time person, I wanted to work for myself.
So, Pot de Verity.
Yes.
And, I think we have your logo too, if you want to throw that up there, just so to give the visual of the name as well, and your website is potdeverity.com. So
right.
If you could find that and throw that up there, that would be great while we talk. So let's take a breath. Before we get
Should
into
say we're
all
doing
this,
yoga after this.
yes,
together.
yes, yeah. Be sure to
So looking forward to
catch
that.
On the Mat with Anna. She so graciously volunteered to join me on the mat. I have my Bob Ross bowl of wit and wisdom here that I thought we could start off with, just to see what direction it takes us.
Okay.
So,
I need my glasses to
Okay.
see what I picked. Oh, goodness. Trees cover up a multitude of sins. You're going to have to interpret that one.
to me, that just, well, things that, I don't know, maybe you are trying to cover up, or embellish, maybe in his realm of painting. Sometimes I think it adds dimension and depth when you cover something with something else. And
As long as you
but
can
trees-
reveal it.
Yes, yeah. And but yeah, I don't know.
I don't like the idea of sins.
Yeah, that's a little,
That's off-putting to me.
yeah.
But I think of sort of the forest for the trees,
Yeah.
not being able to see the forest for the trees.
Right.
So not being able to see the whole, or not being able to see the constituents of
Right.
that whole, the
Right.
elements of the whole. So it's sort of instructive to always teach yourself to look at both.
Very nice. Yeah, Bob Ross always makes me think.
Well, I guess
Sometimes
he
little
paints a lot of
differently.
trees.
Yeah. And it doesn't, whatever your tree is that, you're using to,
I used to make a lot of work about trees.
yeah.
So myself as a tree, being rooted in the ground, that sounds quite cliche, but with the idea of,
Cliche for a reason.
well, one of my professors sort of pointed out, a tree is rooted, you can move, but trees can't.
Right.
So how do they engage their world from one place?
Sure.
So-
Interesting. Yeah. Although trees they're rooted and grounded, but they also are very pliable and bendy and kind of go, even though they can't go
True.
over there necessarily.
No, but they're flexible and they
flexible
move
and-
with the environment around them,
Yeah.
the situation.
So rather than fighting it,
Right.
you bend with it and move with it. So an energy thing.
Which is a great metaphor.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. So
That's
a
good.
great
And now
way
we
to
know
get
that they have
started.
networks and they talk to each other. So
Beautiful. So yeah, and your work has taken another direction. I'm not sure the time frame, but I love the concept of getting into familiar images and things. You're getting it, and probably untraditional as far as really investigating hearts and hands, and
Oh.
I just found it fascinating, the work and the way it talks to me.
Well, that's wonderful. Thank you. Because I was remembering the other day I did a show last summer, and someone came up to me who seemed very art focused, and she looked at my work and she said, "Oh my goodness, you're really weird." And I thought, okay, gulp. I don't care what people say, but I thought, does that mean that you're just not opening yourself up to maybe what this could be about?
Right.
But art should challenge you.
Yeah.
A lot of art to a lot of people is referential in a really didactic sense, in a literal sense. And I think you need a little bit of both. You need a little bit of literal, and to be good art, I think a concept has to be invoked in there. So you have to challenge someone so that you can't come away with a sentence of explanation.
Yeah, and it doesn't necessarily have to match your sofa.
No, it's sometimes.
Yeah, some people buy it.
Sometimes it can.
Yeah,
it's
it
okay.
doesn't have to. But yeah, challenging it. We inferred this at the beginning, just challenging a dialogue, maybe a familiar story that's running in your head, or starting another dialogue, which, I would like to show some of I don't know if there's an image that would be fitting with, some of the more untraditional,
More conceptual.
I guess,
Well,
conceptual.
why don't
but
we show
even-
number one, that one?
Okay, yeah,
That's
right on
that
it.
one. That one works.
And
because this is older work, but actually the piece on the piece with the figure in it, I'm not sure on the screen where it is, left to right, but it's on display right now at a museum in Bethlehem for a larger exposition. But these are pieces that I was making when I was still teaching. You know, I didn't need to make money from my artwork.
Right.
So it frees you up to make, you know, make things that you wouldn't ordinarily make.
Sure.
So odder stuff, perhaps. And so I'm thinking with the figurative piece, it's called What Holds You Up? And it's just thinking about what kind of structure you put underneath yourself with thinking. What do you tell yourself to get yourself through your life, or through any given time or day? So it's talking about that. The other piece is a rug, and it's maybe 3 feet by 3 feet, something like that. And it's made of interwoven hearts and brains.
Yeah, that was Hearts and Brains that you were looking at. Over there,
yes.
which can, you know, right off the top, oh my, you are weird. So, but
well, it takes a certain person to like engage with it and go forward and say, okay, what is this?
What is this about?
And, but that came out of my yoga practice and working on a Boothe ball and balancing, and so working on balance, heart, brain. I'm not trying to be cliche.
Right.
It's the balance that you have in your life. So, you know, the left brain versus right brain, whatever. And so being on a Boothe ball, you're unstable.
Right.
So, you know, think about walking on that rug. It's not smooth, it's fragile.
Right.
But if you walk on it, how do you resolve any person you engage or any situation you engage? So I'm just thinking about reminding myself about the balance one needs in approaching difficult or unknown situations.
Right. And maybe coming about it from a different perspective.
Vantage point.
And different vantage point. And looking at that, I think it helps engaging that process. That, you know, at first maybe you react to it because it is not an ordinary image, an ordinary, which is wonderful. So I think that brings you in, and if you are ready to engage and investigate, you know, how does that make you feel? How does that, you know, and it doesn't necessarily matter what you even meant by it. It's what it brings up for the person.
And that's how art is. I mean, you can't expect as an artist to, unless you hit someone over the head. I'm not interested in that, and I think most artists make work for themselves.
Yeah.
So I'd say all the work I make, even the work in the decorative realm, is prompted by making something that's instructive to me.
Sure.
So the titles go there, the work, the images go there, something that prompts me to think a certain way. Right. So it's sort of creating icons.
Right. Yeah, and then it'll, you know, I guess the hope is that it'll spark something in somebody else. It may
and that, but I see that. I see that all the time.
Okay.
The people who engage with the work are, I would consider them to be, I would describe them as being thoughtful people. You know, open
Thank
people.
you. Right. So we're going to pause here for a break. When we come back, I'm going to dive into you know, your process and how you keep your creativity going, and you know, this. I'm just so interested in it all, and you're going to be too. So we'll be right back.
Guess what it is? It's Mount Laurel, New Jersey. It's RBN Television, and you know that it's time for morning coffee.
We love our new home. Lots of windows, great light.
But the birds. They're back.
Yes, I hear them.
Uh-oh. Why are these birds so angry?
At least Geico makes bundling our home and car insurance easy.
We save a lot.
I'm going. Ah!
Hurry!
I know.
For bundling made easy, go to geico.com.
Welcome. I'm Barry Lefkowitz. I'm your host on New Perspectives on RVN TV. I come to you each week with issues and topics that you will generally find in the news. And if you're looking to be able to get caught up and know what's going on, then New Perspectives is the show for you on RVN TV. Look forward to having you.
Your mom's gotta go.
Oh, she's family.
Like daughter, like mother.
Well, what is that supposed to mean?
She's using my Old Spice moisturizer with shea butter for impossibly smooth skin, and she's wearing my robe. It's bad enough you use up all my body wash, and now her.
We're out. Nice robe.
Thanks, Mom. Thank you. You got good taste. That's your mama.
Hello, welcome back to It's a Creativity Thing. I am here having a wonderful discussion with you and Anna Boothe. So thank you so much again for joining us. This independent glass artist extraordinaire. I am just so happy that I just happened to, discover, the way it turned out to stumble upon your work. And
Me too.
yeah. So before the break, we kind of hinted at getting a little insight into your process of how you keep your creativity going and how, you've been doing this for 35 years. How do you not get burnt out? How do you keep it fresh and new? What works for you?
I can't imagine ever not being excited about it. I get frustrated when I'm not doing it. So there's no retirement ever.
You're doing the right thing.
No, it's my passion. Certainly, so I feel extraordinarily lucky that it's worked out, that I've been able to pursue what I love to do most.
So even with that, how do ideas come to you? Do you find that you get stuck sometimes, even though it's something you enjoy? How do you, and I'm sure there are times that you have deadlines and shows and things and it starts to get overwhelming. Are there any?
There are always times like that.
What do you do to keep that in check? Or, I know I'm throwing all these questions at you.
Sigh a lot.
That's actually a real technique.
I know it is.
I know you know.
I breathe. Learn to breathe. No, it's like that lion's breath.
Yeah.
I thought about this a lot since you posed the question, to tell you the truth. So I have lots of answers to that, but not something that was front of mind ever necessarily. But I keep a really strong discipline, so that I can remain, have this underpinning of sort of safety within which I can work. I
think there's a misconception perhaps of creative types and creativity, that there's no discipline involved.
It's
you
almost
have to have a discipline.
Oxymoronic, but it's not.
Yeah, you need to have some steps to follow, some structure, and within that, kind of let yourself
flow. That's perfect.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I do, and it's explained really well in this book, and I forget who wrote it, but it's called Deep Work, and it's about how to structure yourself so that you can get into a zone of doing important work, whatever that is, whoever that is. It's not just about being an artist.
Sure.
And it just sort of I read it recently. My son gave it to me, and it's just, it resubstantiated the need and the importance of developing a certain discipline. So that discipline is, okay, I write. If I have to write something, I write in the morning, because that's when I can do that the best. I go to my studio in a structured period of time. I don't beat myself up if I don't.
Right.
I have lists within lists of things that I need to accomplish.
Right.
And again, I am realistic about what I can accomplish.
Right.
So I keep deadlines on my schedule. But what do I do to allow myself to get to that sense of focus and concentration? Yeah. That's the big question. And I realized it's what I do outside of the studio that informs inside the studio. So yoga is one of them. We've mentioned that.
Yeah.
I mean, a meditation any type of activity becomes a meditation, and the more you do it, the quicker you can drop into it.
Right.
So, if I'm nervous, this morning I was nervous. I went out and weeded the garden.
That's a wonderful.
So it's satisfying.
Yeah.
And
In the
it's not
dirt
about,
and in the
I'm not killing
earth
plants,
and-
I'm
yeah.
like opening up space between the plants.
Right.
I bake. I had a career as a pastry chef, and for a long time until I got a really bad wheat allergy. But it's in my DNA to bake. So I just jump into the kitchen and I just bake, and I love it.
Yeah, anything that you can do and be there with it. There's nothing
Right.
else that exists. Nothing. You're
You
just
lose
so
yourself.
focused. Yeah, and you find yourself at the same time, right?
Uh-huh.
But and it could be baking. It could be gardening. It could be.
It's whatever
it
takes you
is.
there.
Yeah.
So those are just my things.
Yeah.
Hiking, biking, walking in the desert. I mean, you go on forever.
And that can change at times. One thing serves you one day, and maybe another.
Right. And you pick
mentioned-
accordingly.
You mentioned something about a mirror exercise.
Oh,
That
okay.
I'm really into.
It's important to change your perspective. And how do you do that? You stop doing the things you do in an ordinary way. You do things backwards. You do things out of order. You brush your teeth with your right hand. I mean, you do those things to just change how you approach, and it's good for your brain.
Right.
So there was something I realized the other day that I did as a little kid. And I was an only child, so I had to think of ways to entertain myself. And I used to, I don't think anyone told me to do this, but I used to take a mirror and I would put the mirror here.
Okay.
So when I would look down, I couldn't see my feet, but I could see the ceiling.
Okay.
So that means I was walking on the ceiling. So I would bump into things, but I would walk around my house or wherever I was, and you find yourself, you've just turned your world upside down.
Very cool.
And
Try it. Yeah.
I think it is the coolest thing.
Yeah.
It's not age specific.
Right.
Just because I was a kid. I mean, I have done it since then. And
I'm going to do that.
yeah, do it in any
I'm gonna do
place
that.
where
You
you
should
know that
try
you're
it.
not going to hurt somebody
Yeah.
while you're walking.
Yeah, try it in a
That's
smaller
really fun.
environment first. But yeah, so just get a mirror, put it
Just under your chin.
under your chin. Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, and move it if
Interesting.
you think you're going to trip
Yeah.
over the dog.
Well,
but
yeah. And I liked the other suggestions that just kind of doing something a little differently. Brush your teeth with your
non-dominant
hand. Do a drawing or a doodle with your non-dominant
Right.
hand. Just switching
Right.
it up, and then it allows you to open yourself up to another perspective.
Yeah.
Which
I mean, I realized some other things which could be quick, which are things I do in my professional life, which change up my approach to things, and that is, I say yes to commissions. Of course, it's lucrative, but at the same time, sometimes I take on commissions that as a fabricator. And so it comes with a design that has already been fabricated, and then I have to figure out myself because I learn new fabrication methods.
Right.
So I'm working with metal when I hadn't worked with metal before, or
So you just-
I collaborate with people.
that's a wonderful way to
That is just
open doors
gem
for
of-
yourself. Open your
yes and
inside, and yeah,
it couldn't be better, and you have it checks a lot of boxes.
yeah.
In a lot of ways.
So yeah, sprinkle some of these ideas throughout your day out there, and especially if you're feeling stuck, shake it up somehow.
Yeah.
But before we run out of time, because
Oh,
this
okay.
is going to go by so fast, I want to look at more of your work. So do you want to look at something that you have
We
an
can
image?
put
Do you
up-
want to look
well,
at
we
something
can
you
put
have
up some
here?
images, and then I can back it up maybe with,
okay.
with I brought some visual aids
Yay.
about process, but
Okay.
why don't we
Just
put
to
up
show-
number 3?
Okay, awesome. So you can set this up before.
Okay.
Oh, it's
Well, I can talk about it.
okay. Yeah.
We were talking about collaborations. So this is all me, but it came as the result of a collaboration I did with some friends, a perfumer, an artisanal perfumer in Italy, and a friend who's a draftsman. Neither of which are represented in this work, but I made the work for the collaboration.
Okay.
And we showed the work in Italy. So these are part of a larger body of work of perfume models. And I have one on the table here, which I thought sort of supports that. So this is a stopper and perfume bottle. They don't necessarily hold perfume, but they could. I like the fact that they just could.
Yeah. I love the quality of the translucency and of the glass just adds so much to it.
So these are covering up sins. That's the idea, I guess, right? The tree's covering up sins.
Yeah. There you go,
I make
Bob.
a lot of vessels, so that's number 2.
Okay. And
And this is a little vessel.
okay.
So
I love the
whatever.
hands just holding. Oh yeah. So the intertwined images are just.
So it's the touching, it's the hands touching, and these are mudra hands. They're from, they're Buddhist mudras about wisdom and the importance of knowledge.
Okay, wow.
I don't know about our timing.
Yeah, I can't believe we're gonna have to wrap this up.
Right this second?
Not right this second,
Okay,
but
then I'll show
in like 30, but
Ooh,
seconds.
okay. Well,
So
I work from,
show
I
one
start
more
with-
about your process,
my
because this is
process
how it
lost
starts.
wax casting, and I cast with. So I carve something in wax first. I make a mold of it so that I can make more waxes.
So that's, wow.
And then from that, I will create a larger object, such as Laurie has a larger object that I'm working on right now. I brought it, this is a vessel, which I would have made from something like this. That would have come out of a
So from this you
rubber
make
mold.
the cast and then you pour
And
the glass.
from that, I have different sizes. From that, I make a plaster-based mold that can go in a kiln, into which I put crushed glass, which is lead crystal, which is made in New Zealand. And that goes in here. That gets melted in a kiln.
I have to, sorry. It's beautiful.
And then after
so the
that,
speed
that mold
version.
gets taken off. Very speed version. This is like a
Yes.
month work. And
Yeah.
then I get a piece of glass out of that, which then I have to grind and polish and use a lot of machinery. I don't think I ever explained that quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, have you ever done that before? Talk about doing
I
something
have.
new
I have.
that quickly. So yeah, that you can rewind that later when it's on demand and go through that process slower.
The process is on my website.
And yeah, so give us your website and where to find a little more leisurely explanation of all that.
I have 2 websites, but the one that has the process in it is the pataverity.com.
Okay.
And I have a website with my name, annaboothe.com, which shows my older work and my sculpture.
Okay.
And the Pataverity is a store, but it also has hundreds of pieces on there.
Right. So yeah, for sure, check it all out. Take some inspiration from this amazing creative being here, just waiting to share all this with you. So thank you. I can't believe.
Thank you.
We're gonna wrap this
was
up.
so quick.
Yes. But thank you for sharing.
thank you.
There's lots of good stuff sprinkled throughout here. So take some of this, sprinkle it throughout your day. Look at something in a different way. Find a new perspective, and go out there and create some magic. And be sure to catch us on the mat as well for yoga practice to help make some room for all that creativity to get going too. So next week we have Donna Favillo of Perinatal Health. So she's going to show us her little twist on her creativity and how she uses it in her life. So we will see you next time on It's a Creativity Thing. Thank you again.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
thank you. See you next time.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.